welcome along to a special blast-off show. Kent's defence of this thing, the Vitality Blast T20 trophy, begins tomorrow as they take on Somerset. Over the course of the next hour, we're going to run the rule over Kent's chances of going back-to-back and making history, the challenges of being defending champions, what they've gleaned from last year's success. We're going to speak to coaches, players and some former Kent legends. But before we do any of that, we need to pay tribute to a special man, a Kent overseas great who was voted by you as Kent's best ever T20 player. Andrew Symonds tragically lost his life 10 days ago in a car accident, and we'd like to pay tribute to him. Here is England's new managing director, Rob Key, talking about his old mate.
I think, like everyone, when I woke up on that morning, I think it was Sunday morning, then it was, again, a bit like the Shane Warne one, where it was bizarre, really, because it just felt like, no, that can't be real. Because Simo I hadn't spoken to for a while, but I used to room with him, used to spend a lot of time with him. And actually, when you look back, all of my time spent with people like Andrew Symonds, Shane Warne, a lot of those Australians, that influence that they had on me is actually why I've got to where I've got to in life. And all my philosophies and views come from spending time with people like that. And Simo was a massive part of that, because I was at a very impressionable age. I was probably around 21 when we first came across him, and he had this sort of cowboy hat on. And he played for Gloucester, and we didn't know much more else about him. And it just thought, what on earth have we done here? Who have we signed? He looks like a cowboy. He had cowboy boots on. He didn't say much, but man, what a player. He was so simple. I remember you once had a team meeting when we were talking about batting, because we weren't scoring many runs. And he sort of turned around, I think, and just, after we'd all been waffling on and do this, and Ed Smith, we need to do that, and you'd been saying, and we had all these, we were drowning in theories. And he just sort of said, just see the ball and hit it. That'll do, boys. And then I think he said something like, because we were talking about warm-ups and nets, and he just said, if your preparation's not done before the morning of a game, it's too late. And I remember thinking, he's so simple in everything that he's saying, and he's so right. And he competed better than anyone else for all the stuff, and there's talk about him off the field, all of that. He was great fun. He was so funny. But boy, could he compete. I learned so much from him, whether we were playing touch rugby, where I remember once we cheated him and he just ran off in his spikes and got in a car, and didn't speak to me for 2 days after that, because he thought, I said that I touched him. So it didn't mean he got a try, and he was fuming. But I think all of those things shaped how I then went about my cricket, and have done ever since. And now in this job that I'm doing now with England cricket, the philosophies that Brendan McCullum has, the philosophies that Matthew Mott has, the top players are what Andrew Symonds had. And I was lucky to learn from someone like that, but also to spend so much time with him off the field, because he was so much fun.
It was good fun. And he could, I've said that he could win a game with the bat, in the ball, in the field, sometimes just with his presence. I mean, he was a huge man, and he had a big, loud voice on the field. And I think back to the run out at Trent Bridge when we won the Norwich Union League that year, threw it in 2 inches over the bails, and I think it might have been Chris Reed, was about a foot out. A throw anywhere else from anyone else was not winning that game. He could win games in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, just with presence and the mentality. That's the most important thing when you watch all of those documentaries about great sportsmen, Jordan, Tiger Woods, whoever it is. They have this mentality where there's no clutter. They're not just swimming in all these technical thoughts. They're just playing them versus whoever it is they're playing against. And he had that. And he was funny once. I remember. Do you remember when everyone thought you didn't sledge Jack Russell? Because if you sledged Jack Russell, he sort of got him going, and that was it. And I think someone was saying it in the huddle when we got a wicket in a tight game when we won the Sunday League that same year you're talking about. I think Matthew Fleming or someone was saying, don't say anything to Jack, because that'll get him going. And Simo just went, swear word, sort of that. And he met him halfway out. As he was walking in, he just went and walked alongside him the entire way. And he wouldn't have been horrible to him. He just went, come in there, me and you, Jack, and it's just me versus you. And he just, he just had a way of dragging us all with him. And he was so simple in the way that he did it. And it was you versus him, or him versus whoever he was playing against. And it was just that raw sort of competitiveness that very few people have had.
Yeah, some lovely memories there from Rob Key talking about Andrew Symonds. We're going to talk a bit more Andrew Symonds now, because joining me, I'm pleased to say, is Kent head coach Matt Walker. And Walks, we played with Simo for 3-4 years, a wonderful competitor. Those stories kind of, they ring fondly, don't they, from Kesey?
Yeah, I think that era we played with him, I think ultimately it was a incredibly fun time to be around. He brought something to the dressing room, a vibrancy, a positivity. I think when you're in it with him, he did drag you along. I think you felt invincible. He was this presence, this incredible sort of force of nature that sort of came into our dressing room, and when he was around, it just sort of empowered everybody else. And I think when he was on the field, nothing was ever out of reach. If you batted with him, you knew you were going to win the game. If he grabbed the ball in his hand, you felt you had a chance. He was waiting for something magical in the field for him to do, and quite often he did it. I mean, it was just, I think at that time for us to have somebody like that come into our dressing room, it improved us all. It was a great time to be around him, because he loved life off the field. It was competitive on it. It was competitively humorous and jovial off it as well. And I don't think I've ever come across a competitor like him. He just had this way about him that when you're out there with him, anything was possible. And consequently, we were pretty successful in that period.
Well, we're seeing him here get 90 odd, I think it is, against Worcestershire. A wonderful player. I mean, a lot has been said about him being an entertainer. I mean, he was an all-action cricketer. When he had the ball in his hand, or he was at the crease, or even in the field, things happened. He grabbed the game by the scruff of its neck. That was just the way he played. It was very straightforward. There was no fuss. There was no overthinking of anything technical. It was go out, see the ball, hit the ball, go and win the game of cricket. And there was, I remember batting with him, as I'm sure you did. There was never any fuss. It was just, let's go and win this game. And as I say, when you're with him, when you're out there with him, you feel you can do it. And he just had this magic about him. I think the year we won that Norwich Union League, how many times did he win us a game of cricket by one single brilliant bit of magic in the field, or at the crease, or ball in hand. I think the final game, ball in hand, we were battling a bit, and he turned the game on its head with the ball. A brilliant run out at Trent Bridge, which I think probably only he could have done. I'm not talking about Kent, I'm talking about probably anywhere in the country at that time. I mean, it was just remarkable. I can see it like it was yesterday. He just did it over and over again. The week at Tunbridge Wells we've talked about for years, where he got probably the best catch we've ever seen, bowled for pretty much half a day continuously, and then 150 odd in that Sunday League game. It was just he was just magic. He was just magic, and every time he was on the field, you just knew something was going to happen. Yeah, and we're watching him here get an Ashes 100, and that was the lovely thing as well, because we all knew what a good player he was in four-day cricket. But that Australian side, let's be honest, was tough to get into. But he showed what a magical player he was in the longer form of the game. He could still dominate a four-day match when you think of his fielding and an all-round contribution. But this was a lovely moment.
Well, I think he was ahead of his time. I think for that first couple of years of T20, when no one really knew what to do, he did. He did some quite remarkable things when you think back to 2003 and 4, when everyone was feeling their way around the start of that competition. He was miles ahead of it. I mean, he was scoring hundreds of 30, 40 balls back then. I mean, it happens relatively regularly now, but back then it was unique. And I think he probably learnt then how to tone down his game more for ODI cricket and then for Test cricket in the end. And he did everything. He turned the game in any. You've seen it in Test cricket, in one-day internationals, with his brilliance in the field. He could field anywhere. Great pair of hands in the slips, dynamic. Stump thrower down in the inner ring, and his athleticism on the ropes was incredible. Yeah,
I mean, you talked about it being a bit of hit and giggle when we started, and we've just seen a catch there that he made look easy, and I love the replay of this, because you just get a sense of how big his hands are. The ball looks like a golf ball in his hand coming up here, grabbing hold of this one. But first ever game of T20 that we played in 2003, We chased down 147 in, I think, 12 overs. He got 96 unbeaten off 37 balls. And that was a team that had Wasim Akram in bowling the speed of light. And in the year later, 112 off 43 against Middlesex in that extraordinary game at the Mode at Maidstone. I mean, this was a guy that could do things like you say, Josh Buttler might be doing now on a regular basis, but he was a pioneer. He was a pioneer. I don't think we really knew what was going on then. I spoke about this the other day to a journalist about that innings at Maidstone, and it just felt so matter of fact. I don't think anyone quite knew how to handle that. And he just put his bat under his arm and walked off. I think Middlesex didn't know what to hit them. And I think we just sort of shrugged it off as just something, a bit of a one-off really. But he did it again and again in different ways. But he was, I mean, the power he had was exceptional. I mean, that game at Beckenham, he just kept hitting, as you say, Mullally and Akram, who are two fine bowlers, into the football pitch, at the back of the ground, with just ease. It was incredible. But he had more to his game than that as well. He was smart, and he had a bit of touch as well. But as an athlete, I can't think of many better. I think he could have played any sport he wanted to, probably, if he decided to. He was a phenomenon. I mean, that's Keesey talking about touch rugby. You desperately wanted to be on his side, didn't you? Because you knew thank
that
God it was touch rugby.
Yeah, his touch was like a blooming grenade going off on your side when he touched you. But he was a joy to be around. He was indeed. Let's bring Sam Billings in now, because Sam is back. Good to see you, skipper, from the IPL. Before we get on to talking about that experience and what you're looking forward to in this campaign, just your reflections on Simo, because you would have been, I guess, a Kent fan, maybe even with the Kent Juniors when he was doing his thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Growing up in the Kent under-8s, under-10s, all the way through, I think Walksy was spot on with how he described him. He was a pioneer in the best team in the world in Australia, white ball cricket, and actually growing up, we all wanted to emulate those kind of athletes. So, wonderful kind of example for all the young players coming through, and it really does have an effect when you are in. All those memories when you are in the age groups growing up on the outfield, you see all of these guys, and he was a massive human being, but remembering playing on the outfield at different breaks in play and just being close to all you guys as well. They're the kind of experiences that stick with you, and he was a player that everyone wanted to be, especially in white ball cricket growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. And our thoughts go to his kind of friends and family. A tragic loss, but fond memories indeed. Sam, I've got to ask you about your IPL experience, franchise number, God knows how many this time, Kolkata Knight Riders. I mean, I guess every time you go out there and you play for a different team, a different bunch of lads, you come back with new ideas and new inspirations.
Absolutely, and ironically, the England head coach now as well in the test stuff.
I hope you got on well with him.
Yeah, very well. Again, it's the epicentre of T20 cricket in the world. The IPL, any trends that happen in the game and where it's moving forward to, that's where it happens first. They kind of leave no stone unturned in terms of preparation and trying to get better, to push the boundaries, and the best players in the world are playing over there. So it's always an honour to play over there, and another great experience. But again, looking forward to using that experience to hopefully go back to back with the Blast this year with the squad we've got here.
I know you, because you were WhatsApping me while I was on commentary on the radio, you've been following Kent's progress. I mean, it's safe to say that quite often you go out there, you miss out on some nibbly green pitches, and probably quite pleased that you might be a long way away from getting an absolute jaffa. You missed some flat pitches this time around, mate.
You're telling me? Where the streaming services have been, how they've improved in the last few years has been incredible. So I've been turning it on every single day, watching how the guys have been going, and there's been some tough days in the dirt, but I think it's a great learning curve for everyone actually involved. Cricket has changed in the last few years, where it has been tough to score runs. In the last probably decade, as batsmen, it really has been tough work in four-day cricket, and it's actually great to see where games are going 4 days, spinners are coming into the game. You're seeing Parkinson, Hamidullah Quadri this year for us. Yeah. You see different elements of kind of test cricket that we'll need as an England team moving forward. So I think, there are teething issues, the balls and things like that, but it's great to see some runs being scored as a batsman, and hopefully I can get stuck in when the opportunity arises. Yeah,
absolutely. How are the bowlers? That's what I want to know. I mean, are they fit and firing and ready to go? Because they must be knackered.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire in some ways in this season in the first division, because I think, as Sam says, they've been so used to early season being in their favour. All of a sudden, the sun hasn't stopped shining for 5 or 6 weeks. The wickets have been batter friendly, and it takes a different skill set actually. And I think we were excellent at Essex first up. I thought we stuck to our guns really well. And since then, it's been a bit of a slog. I think we haven't quite found found the right formula of how to bowl on these wickets. It's really very simply patience and just that ruthlessness of sticking in. We come away from that a bit too soon. We've been good in parts, actually. We've been really good in some areas of the game, just not for long enough. And good players make you punish.
OK, let's talk 2020 then, because obviously that's what we're here for. That it is the defence of the Vitality Blast, and just it seems to me that there's some similarities between where you were last year, where the Championship campaign hadn't quite gone according to plan. Does that, Sam, focus minds even more so? It's like, the Championship is probably looking a long way off in terms of winning it. T20, everyone's starting with a level playing field, and away we go. Yeah,
it's also a fresh energy, completely different format, and 2020, people look forward to this time of the year. It's entertaining big crowds. They're the kind of nights you want to be involved in as players. So I think as a group, it's a perfect time to kind of have that fresh approach. Let's be honest, our fortunes in terms of 2020 cricket compared to Championship cricket in the last few years, we've been consistently one of the best teams in the country as a T20 outfit, and we showed that last year, and hopefully we can build on that. That's the opportunity, and that's the challenge moving forward, is to, kind of find that form, find that process of what we did so well over the last couple of years, but it's actually finding that rhythm quickly, adapting, and we've got a target on our backs, which we're very happy with, actually.
Yeah, and you've been there as a player. You've had a target on your back. Back in 2007, you won it. 2008, you went pretty well as well, getting to the final, so you can learn from that experience, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think there's no reason why this group should fear anybody, and that when you win something, that you like to think that the real benefit of that is the confidence it should spread among the group. We talk about getting over the line in competitions, and we did it last year, and it's lovely to win, and everyone's very pleased with that. The feeling now, 7 months down the line, going into this competition again, is we should be very confident. Now, that doesn't mean we take anything for granted, because as Sam said, the target on our back has just got a lot bigger. We're always going to be slightly unfancied just because we're Kent, and people obviously look down their nose a bit at this county, but we proved that we are a force to be reckoned with, and I think our record has stood up for the last 3 or 4 years. But it should breed confidence, and whenever we walk out this competition this year, we shouldn't be able to fear anybody, but we've got to be good. We've got to be as good as we were last year, if not better. I think our squad has strengthened a bit more, and I think the experience that we've had last year, players really emerging. I think the Leaning Cox combination in middle order, I think the seam bowling attack, Milnes, Class and Stewart have really excelled. We add Linda to the squad, we've got options everywhere, but we can't take anything for granted. We want to try and create history. That is the challenge this year. No one's ever done it, which makes it obviously an enormous challenge, but I think we've got, as I said to you probably last year, we've definitely got the squad to do it. But as we know with T20, a lot of it's on the day, and we've got to be really good on the day more often than not.
Well, hold those thoughts, lads, because Kent looking to go back-to-back, looking to create history, as Walksy just mentioned. And the captain, when Kent tried to do that back in 2007, 2008, was, of course, Rob Key. Here's his thoughts on how they backed up in 2008.
We strengthened, actually. I think we got Azam Mahmood came in, Justin Kemp. So we actually strengthened. We recruited pretty well. And the biggest difference was we actually had belief this time around. We actually thought we were the best team in the competition. And we just felt that the absolute key to all of these things, I always think, is not actually to think in a finite way. You just think, we've got to win it again or anything. It's just to concentrate on how you're going to go about winning. What type of cricket do you want to play? How are you going to get to that point where you win it again? Because if you start just thinking about the end goal, you'll come unstuck. The real key, and we did it pretty well, actually, all until Justin Kemp, what did he need? 3 off 2 against Tyrone Henderson, who went for like 58 and got man of the match somehow, bowled an absolute shower. and somehow ended up man of the match in an IPL deal worth, you know, $500,000, which could have been me, I suppose, had we won. But anyway, no, that's the key to these things, I think, is actually just Steve Waugh, as you know, would say, you know, focus on the process, not the end result. And Kent were the best team in that last year, actually. I thought I did a few of their games and the finals day. And on finals day, they were the best in it by a mile because they had a very clear plan and a very, you know, good players, as you always need, and a strategy. So focus on that again. Don't worry about the result will take care of itself, I think.
You've seen a lot of 2020 as a broadcaster in recent years since you retired. You played in a lot of 2020. Has the game changed much from 2007-8 to now? And if so, how?
Oh, it's changed massively. The power in the game is huge. It's on a different planet compared to where we were. I mean, we basically felt that we could defend anything over 150. So, or even 130 in that regard. And nowadays, you just don't feel you can do that. And I think back then we ended up losing the toss every time and chasing. But I still maintain that the good bowling sides win competitions. Batsmen win you the odd game, but consistency is about having a good bowling side. And they've had that with Milne. He's been outstanding, I think, when he's been fit. But the power in the game, for us, it was smack the power play, nudge and nurdle it around till about the 16th over and then smack it again. Now it's literally smack the power play, smack the next load of overs, smack the next load of overs. You know, if there's someone fancies having a go, have a real go. But the only thing that's the same is you have to be smart. I think that, you know, you have to adapt and be able to, you might end up on like they did, you know, Edgbaston sometimes at the end of the season can be I know it's at a different time this year. 3 games, it can end up so you just have to. I thought Jordan Cox was very smart the way he went about it, and he held his nerve. So that's the thing that's the same, but the power is completely different.
Last question. I see you're in your golf shirt today, which is a good sign. You might get out on the course. How's the last few weeks been? Kent fans want to know, you know, are you enjoying the job? You've got the coaches in place. It looks pretty exciting at the moment.
Yeah, it's been good fun. It's been very different. I'm not playing golf today, but I'm just at home doing Teams meetings. But it's been a change of pace, I think, is the best way to describe it. I never thought, if you'd have said to me 2 months ago that I'd be doing this and not working for Sky, I would have just laughed at you. But, you know, life's about challenge, I think, and getting up every day thinking, what on earth is going to happen today? And I have many, many days like that. Most of them are technical questions, like how do I work an email, and you know what's a KPI, and these things people are talking to me about. But ultimately, it's just trying to make cricket decisions, and it's been good fun. That part of it, just trying to have an impact and know that your decisions you make are they're gonna have an impact, good or bad, and the nervousness you have with it, you just have faith in the process, as I said about Kent, and a philosophy that comes all the way back to Simo and people like that, and a way of playing. If we're all aligned with that, who knows what might happen.
Oh, you've got to love him. We thank Rob Key for his time, the new Managing Director of England men's cricket, and the man that used to do that job has joined us now, Paul Downton, Kent's Director of Cricket. Paul, great to see you. Thanks for coming along here. Having been in Keyes's shoes, just what challenges will he face over the next kind of weeks, months?
It's great to listen to Rob there. I mean, a change of pace, I think, probably describes it very well, because he won't really have known what he was getting into at all. Very exciting appointments, and to have got those things nailed down. And in a way, this is what I think he'll bring to the party. He'll be very on top of cricket things, and he'll be in his comfort zone making cricket decisions. Maybe as things settle down a bit and those appointments have been made, then the challenges will come in just the everyday nature of the role, because you never quite know what's going to happen to you. It'll be about having good people around him, supporting him in the areas that he hasn't necessarily had much experience on up until now, and dealing with things as they come. But, you know, you can see he's enthused by it, and he'll be encouraged by it, and it'll consume him in many ways, and I think he'll do a great job.
Enthused about everything other than the teams meetings and things like KPI. But let's talk Kent, because he also said that in that 2008, when they were defending their title, they strengthened. They signed Azam Mahmood, I think there's Justin Kemp, these guys coming in. You too have strengthened. You've signed George Linder. Tell us about him and what he'll bring to the table.
Yeah, George. I mean, George is a great all-round cricketer. You know, he's played over 100 T20s. He's taken over 100 T20 wickets. Economy rate around the low 7s, averages in the low 20s. He also strikes at 135. So from our point of view, he's going to bring us sort of lots of skills. He can bowl in power play if we need him to, but he'll bring variety to our attack. You know, and with Case and he as 2 international spinners, then again, I think that gives us options that we haven't had in the past. He's fitted in very well. Crucially, he's here for the whole tournament, and you look around and so many players are doing 3 matches here or 6 matches there, and with Case and George, you know, we've got consistency with both of them being here, and as I've said, well, as the guys have said, the way in which our seamers have come on and improved over the last couple of years, yeah, I think we'll be very competitive again.
Sam, how important is that consistency of them being around, but also the variety you've got in your attack? You've got 2 overseas spinners, you've got some now quite experienced seamers, and you've also got some good part-timers like Joe Denley, Jack Leaning, who've proved that they can do a job as well. You've got lots of options up your sleeve. Absolutely,
and especially the nature of the Vitality Blast is that there are some really small grounds, there's some flat pitches, and actually you need more than 5 options as a captain up your sleeve. So the other aspect is left-arm spin is such a huge part. Some sides you come up against all right-handed batting lineups, as we have been over the last couple of years, and that offers a huge dimension throughout those middle overs. And as Paul said, wrist spin and left-arm spin gives us those perfect match-up options. And you're just a great competitor. International experience counts for a lot. Big pressure games, he's no stranger to, and can bowl all three phases of the game in the power play, middle and at the death as well, which is great from his captain. And is that one of the big things in the IPO? We talk about left-arm spinners to right-handed batsmen. Is that something that you look to go to? I know MS Dhoni quite often would never bowl a spinner with it turning into the bat. That just seems to be the way. Do the stats just show that keep taking the ball away from the bat? Yeah, we do a lot of prep and a lot of homework behind the scenes, and it is so key. There's so many different trends, different players. You need to know those different players as captain. The bowlers, they've got a hard enough job on their plate. It's up to me to kind of have that information and make decisions, so it stacks it up in their favour. So it's an interesting part of the game which is being kind of increased hugely in the last few years. So it is very, very key. We'll see. The other thing that's going to be a bit different this year is, of course, you can go back to full houses. A few tickets still available, actually, for the Somerset game and for Essex on Friday night. So if you want to come down and support the lads as they defend their title, there are still some left, so do get down. But, you know, I think the ground holds getting on towards 6,000, and it would be great to see it packed out, because it hasn't been that way because of COVID restrictions. Yeah, it was a very strange period, obviously having no fans in for that pandemic era, if you want to call it that. And certainly when they started to gradually come back last summer, you noticed a difference. And sadly, you sort of got used to no fans, which was a bit odd. But slowly they came back, and for that quarter-final here, I think it was 4,000 in, and they made a great noise. I think it's probably the best atmosphere I've seen at Canterbury for a long time. And as you say, you can get up to 6.5. We hope they flood through the gates, because they make a big difference. I know opposition teams don't like coming here, and the fans make a big difference for that as well. They create their own atmosphere. So I think last year that, you know, they enjoyed that quarter-final here, and we certainly enjoyed them being here. So hopefully, again, we'll be well supported this season. And what are the key messages for the players in terms of trying to go back-to-back, or do we not look that far ahead at this stage? Is it just, you know, hit the ground running tomorrow? No, we never look that far forward. We never look any further than the first game. Look, that's I suppose the long-term goal of this competition is to go and win it and create history. But it starts tomorrow against Somerset, and we just try and stick to the processes and the philosophy that we had last year. You know, we spent a lot of time. I mean, Sam spent a lot of time with the players during that period of isolation, working on some thoughts and some ideas, mainly sort of built up from the players' ideas, and out of that, with a few coaches' input, we got a blueprint which has served us really well over the last couple of seasons. So we'll stick very strongly to that, and game by game, cliche as it may be, but game by game, we'll keep getting through. And actually, the South group is so strong. I think we always agree that trying to get out that group is the first stage. Yeah. It's very difficult to do, and that's always a big achievement if you can get through that group. If we can get a home quarter-final like we did last year, even better. But one step at a time.
Yeah, and of course Somerset, Sam, up tomorrow. You played against them in the final. You played against them here where you had been invincible and then you got kind of bantered. He had just a day out, which can happen in 2020. If someone of that talent plays like he did that day, then no score is big enough.
Absolutely. As Walksy alluded to, the South Group is stacked full of talent, and Tom has been one of the best young players in the last few years, and we've had a bit of success against him and vice versa, been on the end of it, but Joe Denley matched up brilliantly against him on the final last year, and having that against them, and we have had a pretty good record over the last few years, last decade or so, against them in white ball cricket. It is a positive thing, but they're a dangerous team. We don't take anyone lightly, and we have to be right on it starting tomorrow, because the games do come so fast in this competition that actually momentum can shift positively and negatively. You can get on a roll with wins and losses, so yeah, we're just going to have to start well tomorrow. Yeah, looking to start well. And Paul, I guess is your job done to some extent? Preparation's done, it's now over to these guys, and to some extent Walksy's as well. You've got to warm them up and everything tomorrow, but when it's now, when the boys go over the line, it's the players that have to do it.
It's always about the players. In the end, it's about the players, because they're the guys that are doing it. I wouldn't say my job is done just as Walksy's job isn't done, because these things evolve, and you're all part of something which you've been heavily invested in for a long period of time. Listen, we wish the guys all the best, but I'll be a committed observer from the side, put it that way.
OK, well, lads, thanks very much for speaking to us. That's the Director of Cricket, the captain, and, of course, the head coach. We'd also like to thank Shepherd Neame, our principal partner and sponsor, who's going to be supporting Kent throughout the T20 Blast. And let's hear now from their Chief Executive, Jonathan Neame.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Neame. I'm Chief Executive of Shepherd Neame. Very proud sponsors and partners of the Kent cricket team, the champions of the T20 Blast. I'm here to wish you all the best for the coming season. And if you show anything like the skill, the energy and the dynamism as you showed in last season, I'm very hopeful that we will win the title again. It was a great thrill watching you last year. I loved the game against Surrey at Canterbury. What a brilliant victory that was. But of course, the final itself was a day that will live in my memory for many years, not least for Jordan Cox's catch, but for the energy shown throughout the team, for the leadership behind the stumps of Sam, and I particularly love that wonderful bowling spell by Case Ahmed. All round, a great team effort. Kent is a brilliant team at the moment, strength in depth, lots of exciting players, and I look forward to coming to Canterbury and other venues to see you. Good luck, guys. It's going to be a brilliant season. I'm sure you're going to win again and be champions 2022.
Look at me. Yeah, well, thanks very much, Jonathan. We look forward to seeing how the Kent boys go. He mentions the catch, and I've got the man alongside me, Jordan Cox, who was instrumental in that catch. But as Jack Leaning, his partner in crime, alongside him here, reminded him very quickly, it was actually Matt Milnes' catch. Look in the scorebook, Jack.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Milne's not talking about it, to be honest.
Yeah, because it ended up in his hands. But Jordan, I mean, special times last year. We'll talk about the catch in just a second. But the whole campaign, I mean, it really was you kind of coming of age last year with bat and in the field. You made some terrific contributions.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to contribute to the team. And obviously to get a few wins starting off the year is really good. So to help out the team is always a positive, and that's what you want to do, really.
And your partnership with Jack, not just in T20 cricket, but in the Championship as well, thinking back to the Bob Willis Trophy, where you put on that record 423. You two have a bit of a special bond, is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. I think the moment Jack came into the Lime Tree Cafe, or now the Oriole Cafe, I always want to be interested to see what he was about, and he played Call of Duty and he played golf, so it was an absolute no-brainer. I was making sure that I was become close friends with him, and I was ready to beat him at everything he's got.
What is it about playing with this man that brings out the best in you?
Just the fact that he's pretty chilled out, really. What you see is what you get with him. Exactly how he acts on camera, around the group, is exactly what he's like in the middle. He's pretty chilled, and I think I responded quite well to that, really. OK, well, let's take a look at that catch and remind ourselves of Vitality Blast Finals Day, and one of the greatest moments in the history of the competition was this man flying through the air. Take a look.
Jordan Cox absolutely loving it. Full Cristiano Ronaldo. What was that like to be out there at that moment, Jack?
It was unbelievable. It was one of those moments where you just think, I can't believe what's just happened. And you just find yourself running as fast as you can towards what's happened. But I was on the other side of the ground, and the reaction from the crowd behind at first, but then kind of Cox's reaction of pure shock, and Milnes is like, oh my God, I've caught it. It's something I'll never forget, that, and just the atmosphere and the noise around it, and what better place to do it than on finals day.
Well, no better place to do it on finals day, because it's been captured for time immemorial when Mark Butcher's commentary as well, which was on the Sky footage, of course. It's something you can be showing the grandkids. You're always going to have that to plonk on the show reel.
Yeah, definitely. Looking back at it now, it's absolutely crazy. It's like, I was even practicing it out there today, and I didn't get one of them right. So to get that right out on the big stage is absolutely incredible, and it's, you know, it'll live with me for the rest of my life.
Don't need to just show the grandkids either, because he shows it to us most days.
Well, it's funny that he talks about practicing that particular catch and not being able to pull it off, because there are juniors all around the county, I think, wanting to be Jordan Coxes. And I was at Whitstable, my home club, working with the under-11s on Sunday, and they were all trying to do a Jordan Cox catch. Have a look. Come on, get hold of the catch first. Get hold of the catch. Yes, flick. Good. Step one more. Go, Jacob. Up. Who's with him? Good. That would have been the one.
We need one more.
Yeah, come on, go. Get there. Yes. Flick. Brilliant. One more. Yeah, not bad, is it? They're not bad, the under-11s at Whitstable. And there's a challenge throughout the next few weeks of the T20. We're obviously going to be commentating on the stream. These guys are going to be playing. We want you, especially if you're a junior cricketer, but any age really, you could be 80, we don't care. Do your best Jordan Cox impression, get a cricket ball thrown up, jump up, flick it back, get a mate to catch it and send it in. And if it's any good, if you are working with juniors, do get the consent of their parents. But send it in and we will play it out on the stream at an appropriate time, and we'll pick out the best one and you'll get a prize. So nice touch. Kids everywhere wanting to be Jordan Cox. Of course they want to be Jack Leaning, look at him, but they want to be Jordan Cox. That must mean a lot.
Yeah, definitely. You know, to see people doing that sort of thing, it's amazing. Like the Cristiano celebration, you know, all the kids want to be doing things like that. So to watch that and watch people doing what, you know, thankfully I did, you know, for the team, it's amazing. Really, it's absolutely, you know, watching it back, it's absolutely crazy.
And after a tough start to the summer, Jack, in the championship, you know, things haven't quite gone according to plan. I said to Sam and to Walksy, it feels a little bit like last year where the championship didn't go great. Coming into the T20, what kind of excitement is there defending your title?
Yeah, I think, as Walksy probably alluded to, there's a little bit more pressure on us this year. We've maybe slipped under the radar a little bit the last couple of years, but to go and play like we did throughout the competition last year, not just in the end, I think we really put ourselves on the map as a team. And I think the most pleasing thing for us that it wasn't individuals that won us games, it was always a collective. And I think that's something we're certainly looking forward to trying to put into practice again this year. The championship stuff, we've not quite hit the ground running. We've not been a million miles away, but I think T20 gives you that opportunity just to free up certainly as a batter, and as a bowler, it just gives you the chance to be confident and back your skills.
OK, well, thanks to the guys just for now. Well, they're not going to go anywhere, but now we're going to hear from an Australian great, all about creating a legacy. This is Australian captain Steve Waugh, former Kent player, of course.
It's been 20 years since your 6-week stint for us back in 2002. How do you remember your time?
Yeah, look, it was good fun. I mean, I wish it was longer. I really enjoyed playing county cricket. I found it a challenge and a lot of responsibilities as overseas player. I guess for me at that time in my career, it was really important for me to go over and get some form and to keep myself, I guess, in the mix. It was towards the end of my career to Australia, and people start to doubt you. You want to keep believing in yourself. And for me, it was important to go over and play county cricket and to score some runs. So I really enjoyed my time at Kent. It just wasn't long enough.
Yeah, we probably felt the same, mate, to be honest. It was a short stint. But in terms of just looking ahead to this Kent side, I don't know how closely you follow county cricket these days, but they begin their T20 defence. They won the Blast last year. The defence starts soon. You were a serial winner as a player and captain of Australia. What was the key to having sustained success? You know, how did Kent go back to back in a competition like the Blast?
I think everyone will sort of say you can't do it. That's the one thing that, forget what everyone else is saying. Just concentrate on what you're doing. I think the main thing is not to get too carried away with the past and don't think too far ahead in the future. If you've got a good formula, and they obviously have, because they won the comp, they know how to play the short format of the game. I think just relax and stick to your strengths and stay focused and don't, as they think, too far ahead. But there's no reason why you can't win 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row. I think from the Australian point of view, from our team, we wanted to respect the past, but we wanted to create the future and leave our own legacy. So it's an opportunity for a side who's won a competition to go on and win 2 and 3 and really create a legacy and have that intimidation factor. So all the other teams obviously were keen to beat Kent, but having said that, pressure is a good thing because it makes you bring the best out in yourself. And I think someone's mentioned before, but pressure is a privilege because if you've got no pressure on you, that means that no one expects you to win and they don't regard you as a threat. So I think embrace pressure, take it on, and but not get too far ahead, but really believe in yourself. And so there's no reason why we can't win again.
One of the things that Kent did last year, and I had the privilege of watching them and commentate on them quite a lot, was that the fielding that they had as a unit. That was one of the best fielding teams I've ever seen up close, or even on the telly. They were exceptional, as good as any I've seen. What does a team's fielding say about a team?
Yeah, look, fielding. I always said to my teams when I was captain, look, if at the end of the day, the best fielding side is going to win the match, and that was. I didn't play T20, but one-day cricket, particularly Test match. I said, if we're the best fielding side, we'll win the match. So that's really important. But I think it shows a lot about a team because batting and bowling, you get statistically rewarded, and people say, fantastic, you get 100 or you get 5 for. But fielding is something you do for the team because you don't really get statistically rewarded for it, and it doesn't get you the man of the match unless you're someone like John T. Rhodes who was out of this world. So it's something you do for the team, and you're out there a long time, and if you commit and help and do the 1%ers, that's what it's all about. So fielding to me is the ultimate sign of a really good team, a team that's bonded together and gelled and is working for each other.
Well, that's Steve Waugh, the one and only Steve Waugh, one of the greatest Test captains that Australia have ever known, one of the most successful that the game of cricket has ever known. Former Kent player. Great to catch up with Tugger. Now, we have alongside me Jack Leaning and Jordan Cox, the famous, fabled partnership. And we're going to have a game of Know Your Teammate. Just how well do these two know each other? So I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Just show the bats, lads. On one side, on the black side, they have Jack Leaning, and on the red side, spin them round, Jordan Cox. The idea of this game is, of course, to get a pair. And if we get a pair, then they will score a point. 12 questions. Here we go. Starting with number 1. Gentlemen, with your paddles at the ready. Who is the better fielder? There we go, a reluctant Jordan Cox from Jack Leaning, but it is in fact a match, so that is 1 out of 1.
He was always going to say himself, wasn't he?
Who has the better singing voice? Okay, that is Jack Leaning, so 2 from 2. Right, 4 to win off the last ball to retain the T20 Blast trophy. Who do you want facing? 4 to win, who do you want facing? Oh, they're too modest. That is not a match. They have gone for the other person. So he wanted you facing, Jack. Hold your mic. If you want to chip in, but we need to hear you in the mic. Right, OK, this is a good one. 1 lap around the track. Who wins the race? Unbelievable. They've gone wrong again. Lads, you're being too modest here. OK, so they've gone the other. So we've got a couple wrong. This fable. I hope we don't wreck this relationship, everybody, because who's the better all-round sportsman? OK, that is another incorrect. This is turning into a car crash. Kids at home going, they were my 2 favourite players, but they just can't, they don't see eye to eye. OK, number 6, who would the boys say is more intelligent? Yeah, that was an easier one, and it has both gone to Jack Leaning. Right, who has the better dress sense? Well done, that is a ballsy call from Jack Leaning, but again, another one correct. So that is Jordan Cox has the best dress sense. Who has the more common sense? OK, that was a straightforward.
This is a joke.
That's a given. Who would the boys say has the better taste in music? Happy with your decision, Jack?
I don't know, it's a tough one, that.
Well, I'd stay there, because he's gone with you, he's agreeing with you. A 4-foot putt to win the Masters. Who's more likely to hole it? OK, that is a Jack Leaning as well. So we remember that. If I'm ever playing
up over 4-foot putts.
Does he? OK, if it was a 20-foot putt, it might be different.
Give me a 20-foot, I'll take it.
OK.
He's no good short.
Who has travelled more? Who's travelled more? Who is the more travelled? Decision, Jordan? He's older, surely. OK, fair enough. This is now, I wonder if you know this one. This is statistically proven, but we don't care about the statistics. We care if you two align. Who has the higher career strike rate in T20 cricket? Who has the higher career strike rate? You've just got to match. Who is it? Jordan has gone Jack. Jack has gone Jordan. The answer is Jack, 133 to Jordan's 131. 133 to 131. So there we go. So I don't know how many, if anyone was totting up. We'll watch it back and see who was winning. But lads, thank you very much for joining us. That is an example of just how these two see eye to eye. Also, just want to remind you that we're thanking Shepherd Neame for being the principal partner and thanking them for their support of our Blast Off show. So I hope you enjoyed that game of Know Your Teammate with Cox and Leaning. That could catch on. Let's introduce you to our next lot of guests then. Talked a lot of batting, haven't we, so far? So really important that we've got the bowlers in here. I've got bowling coach Simon Cook and the fast bowling duo of Matt Milnes and Freddie Klassen. Gents, thanks for joining us. Let's talk bowling then, Cookie, because Keezy said that bowlers win 20-20 matches. He said, obviously it's a team game, but he said the best bowling unit generally wins T20. As someone that's won the T20 for Kent, you probably agree with that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. He's obviously a very astute judge, isn't he?
How good are these guys?
These guys are excellent. I think the development in their skill set in the last sort of 2 years has been exceptional, really, when you consider actually how fewer games they've played. The development has been outstanding, not only in the execution of certain deliveries, but the confidence when to deploy those, and also now aligning the fields to get the most success, basically.
Matt, 22 wickets last year. I think that's the second best haul in a campaign in Kent history. What was the key?
I think Chef just touched on it there. I think we sort of grew as a bowling unit over a few years, and I think sort of last year was probably sort of the icing on the cake of that, I guess. I think we were very good on our research, we were very good on our plans, and I think the main thing we had out there was clarity, because I played in T20 before where you don't have clarity and it can get quite messy and things start to happen quite quickly. But I think as a group we all communicated really well and had really good clarity and knew each other's games very well, so you could sort of help each other out as well, which was good.
Fred, from your point of view, I mean, there was I think 19 wickets for you. Great bowling in partnerships. We talk about batting partnerships, but you doing your role and partnering up with the likes of Milnesy was key to success.
Yeah, absolutely. We call ourselves the bowling unit, I suppose. We've got a bit of a WhatsApp group going, the Bowling Nuffies, where we do our analysis stuff together, and we talk a bit of garbage on there as well, but it's mostly serious stuff. But, and that's grown over the past couple of years, I mean, Grant Stewart's added to that as well. We obviously had Adam Milne there as well. He brings the experience, but probably me, Milnesy and Grant probably don't actually have as much experience compared to some of the other bowlers and the other teams. But we've grown well as a unit in the last couple of years, and I think we really feed off each other. And it really helps, as he said, talked about clarity, Milnesy did there, and which is really important, and communication on the field is really good between us, and we are a bowling unit, so it's great that Milnesy was the leading wicket taker, but if we can all chip in, I think I think that leads to help success.
And a lot's been made of this word kind of matchups, kind of a bit of a buzzword. I know the IPL, they're big on their matchups. I mean, you prepped to the extent when a certain batsman walks in, he's like, oh yeah, that's me. I've got his number. Is that kind of how it works?
I suppose we all probably do our individual research together by ourselves, because we're slightly different bowlers, slightly different skills and things like that, and then it's probably a bit of a collaboration. We come together and it's just sort of bouncing ideas off. So we've all got our own ideas, but communicating that during the game as well is really important for us. And I think riding the wave in T20 cricket especially, 'cause, you know, you can feel like you're bowling quite well and go the distance, or you can bowl pretty averagely and take 3 for spit. So you got to take it as it comes, and you know, go one game at a time. I think it's important.
Yeah, and Matt, just how special was Edgbaston and finals day? We've just obviously been reliving the Jordan Cox catch. The atmosphere looked electric. I was in the crowd with my kids. We were going bananas. It was wonderful to be kind of on the sidelines. What was it like to play in?
Whose catch was that, sorry?
Sorry, it was your catch.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty amazing day. I remember, I think it was in between games when we were warming up for the final, where Sweet Caroline was being sung. The atmosphere was incredible. It was, yeah, sort of goosebump stuff. But yeah, I mean, I genuinely felt quite confident going into that day. Once we won the semi, I felt like we were going to win the final. Yeah, I was pretty nervous for the semi, but once that was out of the way and I sort of bowled okay, and we performed really well actually as a group. I think we knew that this was our time, and all the hard work that we put in over the course of maybe 3-4 years at it really has come to fruition there.
And Cookie, in terms of going back to back, what would that mean? Because you almost went back to back in 2008, they lost in the final to your old side in Middlesex, which must have been a gutter for all kinds of reasons. But to try and go one better, it's never been done before. I guess there's a reason why you've got a target on your backs. Yeah,
I think that just shows how difficult T20 is and how unpredictable it can be. So to set that as a challenge is definitely one of those really high benchmarks. Not many teams around the world really retain T20 tournaments because of the randomness, the fact that the game evolves very quickly, the video analysis that goes on. It's very, very difficult for you just to have one game and just keep going and keep going and keep going. But it's up there as a challenge for us, and it's one that we'll take on with great relish, and we're looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Yep, can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. We're going to thank these lads. We're going to let the bowlers go. We're going to get the batters in. But thanks to Freddie Klassen, to Matt Milnes and to Simon Cook. Leave your mics on the chairs, lads, and head out that way to the right of the camera as quick as you can. And we're going to get the batters in. But just from the point of view of those guys, Freddie Klassen, 19 wickets last year. Matt Milnes, 22 wickets last year. Just as we try and get these batters in, we're waiting for Ryan Tenduskarter. Alex Blake is coming in, and Daniel Bell-Drummond, who of course captained Kent for much of the campaign last year. So a big thank you and a welcome to those guys. As you just see the shoulder of Daniel Bell-Drummond there. Deebs, good to see you. Thanks for popping along. How was the session this morning? You boys raring and ready to rumble?
Yeah, no, it's been a good session actually.
Bit of rain around.
Yeah, a bit of rain around, but yeah, it's good to get back into this format, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, just how special was last year, and just how much freedom did you feel at the top of the order to just come in white ball cricket, sea ball, and just basically thump it as far as you could? I know there's a bit more to it than that, but that's what it looked like.
No, I think that's what it is really, just sea ball, hit ball. I really enjoy it. And no, we had a great year last year. I think the whole team played with that freedom, and yeah, we complemented each other really well. So no, it was a great year, and hopefully we can go again this year.
Yeah, and of course this is Blake time, as we call it in the Fulton household. You know, it's time when Blakey, with his white ball contract, dusts off his stuff and comes out and smashes a white ball around. But you've gone, Alex, pretty well in red ball cricket as well. Obviously, a couple of double hundreds. You're coming into this campaign, it looks like from the outside, in better nick than ever before.
Yeah, I think I've done it slightly different this year. I've decided to play a bit of red ball cricket again for the twos, which for me has been ideal preparation for this time of the year. I don't think I've come into a T20 competition feeling as confident or as sort of confident in my game where it's at. So I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running, hopefully.
Settle the debate for us, because we have this argument in the Fulton household. We don't get out much, actually. So it's like, you know, where is Alex Blake? This is dinner time conversation. Where is Alex Blake's best position in terms of when you come in? Because last year we saw you kind of up the order a little bit, coming in after 4 or 5 overs, almost in the power play at some stage. We kind of think that maybe with 6, 7 overs to go, that's the real Blake time.
Yeah, and I think that's where I've had more of my success. I think last year I did try bat up the order a little bit, didn't quite go to plan, but more comfortable down at 5, 6, coming in those back end. I like to try and give myself a little bit of time, but if I can be set coming into the end, that's where I feel I can be my most destructive, really.
Ryan Ten-Doeschate, batting coach, is here, a man who, of course, knows how to win T20 titles as well. I mean, first of all, good to see you. How much fun working with these guys?
Yeah, so much fun. Obviously, seeing it from the other side of the fence. Not just last year when they won it, but the last few years, they look a really well-drilled unit, and they specialise in this format. And just being out there today, listening to the sounds. You know, we had 2 nets going on and a range hitting practice, and sort of within the space of 30 seconds, you hear 3 bangs every time. So the batters are certainly ready to go. The red ball form's been pretty good as well. There's a few nice additions. Blakey coming in, Bilbo's obviously ready to go, and Joe hasn't had a go yet either. So very excited for those 3, and looking forward to getting started tomorrow like everyone else is.
Yeah, I reckon they got better bats than I used to have. But in terms of your role, I mean, what can you say to these guys? How do you go about your business? Is it technical stuff? Is it sharing your experience with them, having kind of been around the block a bit? How do you? I suppose everyone's a bit different.
Yeah, I think the game's moved on so quickly, even in the last 2 or 3 years. So for me at the moment, I'm just trying to find what these guys want in terms of preparation, what little things they want me to look at, and obviously externally, if I see something that mainly technical that I'm a little bit unsure about, I'll run it by them. But I think they're all in good order. They all know their games very well. Cox is probably the only one who hasn't played a lot, but he's a very confident guy who knows this format of the game. So it's just managing the players and making sure they're happy and in a good space to perform. Yeah,
and I guess your own best coach, Deeb's, in a way. No one will know your game as well as kind of you know your game. But how useful to kind of bounce off not just a batting coach, but your mates up the other end?
Yeah, it's massive. Like you say, I'm my own best coach, but it's great having Ryan here. Like you say, really experienced as a professional cricketer in general, and at this format as well. So he's been a great addition for us, looking at certain things in our games, working on a few bits with him today. So, no, I think it's key that people who know my game are around me as well. But at the end of the day, I have to do it when I cross the white line.
Yeah. Alex, I'm just interested as well that the T20 success last year and how it spilled into the kind of club game, because you're playing for Hayes, your club that's been your club for a number of years now. And is there a buzz at that level about Kent's success?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone around the league sort of knows each other. Everyone takes note of the Kent side. And with these streams now, they can watch every game. A lot of people talk to me about dismissals here in the Championship, and the same with the T20. And I think they're all looking forward to it. And obviously the first game's on TV tomorrow night. So I think everyone's going to be tuning in for that. So there's always a buzz around league cricket. I enjoy it personally. I get involved as much as I can. Some good players in it. But yeah, I think everyone's pretty excited about Kent and how they did last year, and hopefully take it into this season as well.
Absolutely. We're going to let you go and get your feet up. Thanks to Ryan Ten-Doeschate, Alex Blake and Daniel Bell-Drummond. But we heard there about how Kent's T20 success inspiring the clubs. Here's a little message from Bexley.
Welcome to Man Away, home of Bexley Cricket Club. My name is Nick Riley and I'm chairman of this wonderful cricket club. We're currently running 5 sides on a Saturday, 2 teams on a Sunday, including the ladies team. But it's the Colts section that is the lifeblood of this cricket club. We've got 4 girls teams and 11 boys teams, all playing cricket down here during the week. The T20 Vitality Blast last year for Kent was a great season, and obviously the standout moment has to be Jordan Cox's magnificent piece of fielding up at Edgbaston during finals day. Our favourite Kent player has got to be Ollie Robinson. The smallest player at Kent, even his 10-year-old brother is taller than him right now, but he's a lovely player, a great kid and a great role model for everybody here at Bexley Cricket Club, and I'm sure he's going to go on to better and higher things in the international game.
So there, a message from Bexley, and of course they referred to Ollie Robinson, and the breaking news yesterday is that Ollie has gone up to Durham, so he's on loan up there, so we wish him all the best. I don't know if he's gone there yet, but Ollie, good luck when you actually get out there. Joined by 3 more guests, and we're saving the best to last. These are our last 3 guests. Matt Walker's returned, George Linder, overseas player, and Molly Davis is joining us as well to give us some perspective on the women's game. And Molly, we'll start with you, because the women, of course, must not be forgotten, even though we're celebrating this trophy behind me. Just a great opportunity in women's sport in general at the moment. It's a real growth area, and the girls have been formidable for a few years, but it's exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that growth stems all the way from school cricket now, all the way through the club network, and especially through our pathway as well. And national programmes, All Stars and Dynamos, girls' numbers are growing, which is fantastic. And there's been such a buzz around it. And from our perspective now in our community team, even more girls are joining. It's just a very exciting time.
And do the girls who join now see a career path in cricket, whereas once it was played more socially? You look at the girls, the Heather Knights of this world, and obviously Tammy Beaumont and 1 or 2 kind of Kent girls who were playing right at the very highest level. There's some money to be made, there's some careers, there's some profile to have.
Absolutely. I think at Kent we've been very lucky. We have a lot of our girls that have gone through the pathway now and are in our regional centres, and we've got 7 girls that have gone to do that, and I'm sure many more will go and follow their footsteps, which is great. And the fact that the career is so much of an attainable option now, there is a buzz around that, especially for our young girls emerging. The fact they can see their role models going on and making such a career is fantastic.
And the girls will be watching the guys as well, because that's the lovely thing. And I remember the 2017 World Cup when the women won it, and Anya Shrubsall was doing her thing. I've got 2 teenage sons, and they were cheering the girls on, and the girls will be supporting the guys when they're taking on Somerset and throughout this 2020 campaign.
Oh, absolutely. It is really a one club here, and obviously the girls have had fantastic success in their competitions over the last years, I should say, actually. In the last year itself, double champions of the T20 and the 50 over as well. So that's just been fantastic, and I'm sure all the girls will be around supporting the boys this season as well.
Terrific stuff. George, good to see you. Welcome to Kent. I know you've been here for a few weeks now, and you're fully fit and firing. How have you found it?
Yeah, I've been loving it here so far. The boys has made me feel welcome. Unfortunately, I came here with an injury, but it's all good now. All good to go. So yeah, happy days.
And this T20 side, I mean, I don't know how much you saw last year with all the streams going on and different things around the world, but they played some good cricket last year, so you're going to come in and strengthen them. How excited to be defending champions?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's actually funny that I've been following the Blast quite a bit. Obviously with COVID last year, showed in South Africa, watched the finals day, and never expected to sign with Kent, and I was really excited to see the way they were playing the T20 cricket, and next thing you know, I signed with Kent, and they just I can just see the excitement on their faces. And we want to try and win again. So
win again, create history.
Yeah, that's it. So hopefully we can do that. Guys look pretty confident as well.
Yeah, and we'll see. The other thing, I guess, as I mentioned to the last guys who were on, talked to Blakey about what Kent's success does in the clubs. You're a Gravesend legend. What happens at Kent filters down to the kind of lower reaches and the grassroots cricket. They get inspired by what they see their county heroes do.
I hope so. I think it's like anything. If the top of the tree is succeeding, you hope it improves. Participation and excitement, and just hopefully inspires a generation of younger cricketers to either follow the game, pick a bat up, pick a ball up, start playing in the back garden, and then you start to see hopefully the rewards, years down the line. And I think it's I think you get a feel, and certainly when we won it last year, how far-reaching our success was. Amazing how many messages you receive from all sort of corners of the Kent League and the county, and it does make a difference. I think it really does, and we're trying to win games of cricket, and consequently the inspiration, hopefully, that comes from it is for all to see. So I think it's important, and I think I get a feel that with the girls doing what they're doing in the game or what we're doing in the game, you know, the county is thriving, and certainly in the leagues as well, with Tunbridge Wells' success last summer, you know, Bexley's success in the Kent League, how well they played all year. The county is certainly thriving.
Yeah, Bexley, Tunbridge Wells, Kent over 60s, the T20 Blast success, the women's county success as well. It's fantastic news for the county, it's fantastic news for the community. All of that is filtering down to grassroots. Have a look.
How are we going to get accuracy? Good. Oh, good. What else?
Great ball. Yeah. Good point.
So I'm Chelsea Lenihan. I have been playing here for quite a few years now in the women's team in the Kent Development League, and I've also been running the women's softball, which is taken off again for its second year running. And to have all-stars, Dynamo and women's softball here is absolutely incredible. It's so brilliant to see. To develop young people in cricket, it's obviously so important for longevity. To get more females involved it's been in the pipeline for a long time, and to now finally see it happening is it's really important for the club.
My name is Ola and I play Dynamos for Motion. It's been really fun playing with the other girls. My favourite thing about cricket is bowling and fielding, because you get to throw and catch. Ethan and I've been doing Dynamo's cricket. It's been amazing actually, because I got 5 catches. Ben. I've been helping out at Dynamo's.
My name's Ian Fagg and I'm an activator for All Stars Cricket. It's great to see kids and parents down here enjoying the ground and enjoying cricket. At Merstham we've been running All Stars for the last 5 years since its inception. This is our first year of Dynamos, and at the moment we've got 43 All-Stars, 33 boy Dynamos and 25 girl Dynamos. And so the place is on fire on a Friday evening. It really does set the weekend off for a cricketing fiesta, if you like. We play Saturdays and Sundays down here, and it's great to see the ground being used frequently and so often for cricket.
My favourite player is Cash Farron. Demi Boma. Joe Denley. Sam Billings. Because he's a wicket-keeper and batsman like me.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Great to see Kent inspiring the next generation. That's about it from our Blast Off show. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to Shepherd Neame and the Naughty Bear beer, which is non-alcoholic, I should stress. Thanks to Matt, to George and to Molly. It all begins tomorrow against Somerset. Remember, there are tickets available. There are tickets for Kent's game against Essex on Friday night. But it's all about this thing and trying to create a legacy as well as inspiring the next generation. Here's to Kent going back to back. Thanks for watching.